If you want to sharpen your surf perch fishing spidey senses to find those big slabs on west-facing sandy beaches using jerkbaits and Carolina rigs, this video is for you. Oh, that is a freaking woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! In the last 3 years, since I started studying and practicing surf perch fishing as a primary game, I've personally had success over and over with the following principles and techniques. This thing only weighs 3/4 of an ounce. Oh, dude! My buddy Roger Scott drives 3.5 hours from Fresno to target these fish at the world's greatest surf perch fishery in San Luis Obispo, California. After $100 in gas, $50 for a campsite, and all the time and energy Roger invests to catch some perch, it's really important that he succeeds out here. So in this awesome episode that I'm so excited to share with you, we'll learn some really valuable information to sharpen your barred surf perch fishing spidey senses and finally learn to locate those big slab-sized surf perch. In this video, you'll learn how to identify structure that is likely to produce fish and how to identify structure that probably won't hold schools of perch so you don't waste your time. We'll also take a look at some new bait designs and important techniques. So you can see that he is hooked in the corner there. Before proceeding, I want to say, I feel a little reluctant to share this info because, well, I might be wrong about some of this stuff, and I don't want to put out false information. All I can do is share my philosophies based on what works consistently for me, and ask you to get out there and try to prove me wrong. I'll be happy to consider your observations and reconsider my conclusions. So please leave a comment to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. In my opinion, perch are by far the trickiest species to pattern and locate consistently, which is what makes them so fun to chase. The mystery of where to find them is quite a riddle, and it's what drives me to get out there and have fun searching for them. It's a good thing they're so abundant, because despite being so hard to understand, they're also one of the easiest fish to catch consistently, which is probably what makes them the most popular sport fish in the California surf.
I started the morning on a piece of structure which grabbed my attention as soon as I laid eyes on it. But it was deceiving, and a really good example of how sometimes you need to spend 5 or even 10 minutes reading the surf around you before you get clear on how the sand is structured. In this case, it took about 10 minutes for me to notice that there was a big, shallow sandbar way out of casting range, walling off this entire area, which is something to watch out for and avoid.
I'm kind of losing confidence in this spot now that I'm having a good look at it while I'm fishing it. It seems to me that all of the water that's within casting range is really walled off. On these shallow beaches like Pismo, if there's a big long wave breaking way out there, it means that whole area of surf zone is basically walled off. The structure within casting range becomes inaccessible to schools of large perch. I've been skunked in enough spots like that to know I'm not going to waste my time and energy that way. I'd rather keep searching for waves crashing within casting distance that are not walled off by big waves way out there. Thank you, Edward, from the YouTube channel Hook to Cook, for sharing this gold nugget with me. One of the very first times we ever fished together. It's time to pass this tip on to you. Watch this episode carefully to learn what to watch for, so you can disqualify an entire area when hunting for those big surf perch. So, now that we know we don't want pockets that are walled off, what kind of structure do we want? I'll summarize by saying this. We want to find waves that are breaking on sandbars within casting range. And we want those sandbars positioned next to deep water that connect past the surf zone. That allows perch to come in from the deep blue sea and get positioned to feed on those sandbars within casting range. The deep water could be a cut alongside the sandbars. This is a typical example of a deep cut and then a large trough, which the perch can swim up and get into position to feed off the shallow sandbars. Or the deep water could be directly behind the waves that we're casting over. In this example, the wave energy travels all the way up to this lip, with a shoreline sandbar we're standing on suddenly drops off into that deep water. The waves break on this lip, and that's about where we tend to get bit. Or the deep water can surround an isolated sandbar with one small area of break that we're casting over. I once heard Edward Tomoloso refer to this as an underwater island, which you can see in his episode titled Reading the Surf Like a Pro, Air and Ground Barred Surfperch Fishing Mastery, to which I will leave a link in the description of this video. To summarize, as long as there's waves repeatedly crashing on a sandbar within casting range, and there's some deep water nearby to allow perch to get in and feed on that sandbar, and the whole area is not walled off by a big long wave breaking way offshore, then there's a good chance perch will be schooling and feeding on that sandbar right in front of you. Let's move on with the fishing session so I can show you some real life examples of what I'm talking about. Look who we got here. Good to see you.
You too. How you doing?
Good.
Boy, they were sure diving in the water, man, and there was seals and all kinds of crap over there.
Well, do you see deep water next to shallow water? That's pretty much what I'm looking for.
I looked at there. There is a little bit in that area, but I didn't get. I think I got one bite in that area.
This spot's not hitting, so we might as well just try the next one and try the next one. All right, we're getting all situated. We're gonna jump in the truck. Pay attention to what we see next as we sit and watch the waves break for the next few minutes. If you keep watching, you notice like there's this one spot where the waves are breaking right out in front of us here, and that's like the only spot where they're breaking. See, and that's within casting range. The whole time we've been here, that's the most wave action we've seen. Otherwise, it's really calm here. There is a set of wave energy coming through right now.
You said sometimes you gotta wait for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, you gotta look at it for a while. Yeah, that's a good point, dude. You gotta kind of look at it for a while to just really know what you're looking at for sure. This is deeper water because there's barely any waves breaking around here. Yeah, when some real wave energy comes through, when a nice big set comes through, it reveals that, yeah, there is a little bit of sandbar in front of us, but it's not walled off by a bunch of big sandbars way out there. So it's letting the fish come in close. So you want the waves to break within casting range. That lets the fish get in and feed right in front of you within casting range. So that's what I'm seeing right now, is that I'm seeing waves breaking in close within casting range and otherwise surrounded by pretty deep water. I'm not wearing my glasses at the moment. It's hard to tell just how far away those waves are that are breaking. But I'd say that we could probably hit that wave that's breaking right there with a Carolina rig, and we could probably get in the zone with a jerkbait. So I think we should go fish that sandbar. Like all those waves that we see breaking and rolling, to me that looks like good fishy, foodie, like where they were gonna feed. Okay, let's give it a try. All right guys, welcome back. We've got Roger Scott here all the way back out from Fresno. You may have seen him in one of my previous episodes. If you haven't seen that one, I'll leave the link in the description so you can see that episode after this one. But keep watching with us to see how today goes down, because Roger comes all the way up from Fresno. He drives 3.5 hours each direction. It's kind of important that we get him on the fish as soon as possible. So I'm gonna do my best to help him. All we can do is get out here, use our eyeballs, use our best senses, all the knowledge we've collected, and just try to get our buddy on some fish. Roger, how have you been in the last year since I've seen you, man? Have you been healthy? Have you been happy? What's up?
Been healthy, happy. Been doing a lot of striper fishing at the San Luis Reservoir and been kind of busy. And I've been itching to come back here. I've been watching all the videos, and I left my house at 2 o'clock in the morning. So when I come here, I want to try and do as best I can. And Vince has helped me so much, and using his equipment and the knowledge and watching all the videos really helps a lot, guys. So
thank you.
We're going to try and get on them.
Yeah, so our strategy today, we're going to start with the Battlestar 115 jerkbait while it's low tide. If the jerkbaits are not producing after a while, then we'll switch over to Carolina rigs and we'll bomb it out further, make our way down the beach, and just try to get in front of some fish. All right, guys, come along with us. Let's see how this goes. All right, there's Roger. He's got the 8 Fans waterproof fishing jacket. This spot to me says this is deep water next to some sandbars that are within casting range. It's not walled off by sandbars on the outside. I'll probably start combing this whole zone right here. While we're on this subject of these big long sandbars way offshore that tend to wall off sections of beach, I want to point out that in this video we're fishing at low tide. If it was high tide, and the waves were still small enough, that big long sandbar on the outside would be under several feet of water, making the inside structure more accessible by surf perch. I often wonder if the surf perch have adapted in such a way that they're instinctively compelled to exit any structure that is walled off by a large sandbar to avoid getting trapped in the hole at low tide. Perhaps that's why surf perch are always on the move and often tend to just disappear to another location as soon as the tide changes from incoming to outgoing. All right, so I'm wading out as far as I can on the shallow sandbar that I was talking about that sort of jets out, and then it just sort of seems to drop off into deep water out there. And this is when that Battlestar 115 really comes in handy because it casts so far, and that is what I need right now. Let's make sure our drag is just tight enough to set the hook, and then I'm going to do a steady retrieve with my rod tip sort of forward so I can sense if I get a bite, bam, I'm ready to rip backwards, let them have the backbone of my rod, make sure we get a good firm hook set, and just keep that rod bent.
Look at those waves cresting and curling right in front of me on the very end of the sandbar that I'm standing on, where it drops off into deeper water within casting range.
Fouled. I feel seaweed. I think this water might be a little dirty here. Let's see. Yeah, a little bit of seaweed on my bait there. That's too bad. So if it's this dirty, then I'm gonna already start crab walking to the left and just stay on the move here. I picked up seaweed on my first few casts, so I'm gonna start crab walking to the left. My bait is getting fouled close in. It seems clean out there, and then it gets dirty right in close. I'm gonna go ahead and pass you to the left. We're searching for the fish. There's a nice series of waves, whitewash. Waves rolling in to our left and deep water to our right where it's not breaking. That is ideal. That's what we're looking for. And wow, we've even got pelicans flying within casting range telling us that there's probably bait in these shallow zones. I love my rod. This is the Okuma SST medium weight, 10'6". It is a 2-piece and it is rated up to 3/4 of an ounce. So it is just a perfect rod for casting the jerkbait. And I really don't mind overloading this rod a bit, taking it up to 1 ounce or even 1 1/4 ounce when I'm throwing a Carolina rig. I have thrown up to 1.5 ounces with it. For a while now, I've been telling myself maybe 1.5 ounces, it's just a little overkill. I think I want to try 1.25 ounces for a while, see how that works out. Maybe I'll even take it down to 1 1/8 ounces, and I might find that that is the sweet spot that I really prefer for Carolina rig in these sandy beaches. I do like to use a medium fast retrieve at times, which means I need a little more weight to keep my bait down on bottom. I also want to be prepared with enough weight in case the swell picks up or the wind starts to blow. Oh! Oh! I got smacked. If you have a really close look, you'll see there's a scale.
Now, watch what happens next.
All right, people often ask me for tips on how to manage the Battlestar 115 or jerkbaits in general when you're fishing, to get them to cast really far, and so that your line isn't wrapping around the tip of your rod, and so that your line isn't wrapping up on the hooks when you cast. My tips for that, my main tip, if I was to summarize it, I would say be graceful. Be graceful because this thing only weighs 3/4 of an ounce. Oh, dude! Woo! Big fish, big fish. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. I think I found him. This is dead weight right here. I think we just foul hooked a perch. Either that or we've got a striped bass because it feels so heavy. So heavy. That's a big fish. I'm gonna maintain some pressure on that baby. And I'm walking backwards. Not gonna take any chances with this one. So heavy, dude, so heavy. Watch out. He's coming up to you. He's right in front of you. Looks like Roger's on a fish. Roger is on a fish. I think we found him, guys. I think I just saw it at the spot and I just knew it, and then we just landed right on him. This fish is so heavy. I'm having the hardest time bringing this fish in. And from the looks of it, honestly, to me it looks like it could be, it's either a small striper or just the heaviest surf perch I've ever caught. I see it now, it's right there. And it does look like a good size. And it does look like he ate it, and the tail hook is in his mouth, and then the top hook snagged him in the back. All right, we got him. There's our first slab of the day. Skunk is off, guys. What a beauty. And Roger's bringing one in right now. So let's go have a look at this fish that Roger is landing. Roger's got one here, foul hook to tank. Yeah. We got you on him, dude. Ladies and gentlemen, we have success. We're doing it. Daily double. We got Roger Scott in the house from Fresno, and we got right on him, guys. We drove down the beach. We saw a spot that looked like deep water next to shallow water. We gave it a whip. Bam! We're on him. Cast over those waves. When you see the wave going kerplunk, right where it breaks, that's where you want to cast over. But that is the sandbar. Looking good. Keep my rod tip down at a 45 degree. Nice steady retrieve here. When they smack it, we'll set the hook. Perch are very aggressive hitters. When they hit a bait as large as a jerkbait, they really give it everything they got. They just grab that tail hook and shake their head so hard. They're trying to destroy the fish's tail, so that way it has no possibility of escaping. If they can destroy the tail of the bait fish, then that bait fish is not going to be able to swim away. And they can come back and just chomp and chomp and chomp it into little bits like a piranha. Take a look at the water quality. It is a nice shake. It's pretty clear water and it's churned up. You can see sand temporarily suspended, sinking pretty quickly. It clears up within about 10 seconds. You can see it's churned up right now. Every time a wave comes through, it's going to be a little bit churned up. But if it, in between the waves, in between sets, you'll get this good 20 or 30 second period, and that water will be clear as can be. And a lot of times when it's that nice chocolate shake on a sandy beach like this, you can look at the break and it'll have sort of a greenish hue to it. And that's exactly what I'm seeing right now. As I look out into the waves, right before it breaks, I can see it has that color of the sand in the water. And for some reason it comes across as greenish sometimes. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's reflecting a little bit of the blue from the sky. All right, so the bite has seemed to have slowed down. We haven't had a bite in the last 15 minutes. So what I want to do is start crab walking further to the left and fish all that whitewash and where the waves are breaking here. They hit quick and then they were gone. So they probably moved either 50 yards to the right or 50 yards to the left. I'm guessing to the left, along all this whitewash where they're feeding off. Like I was saying, you want to be nice and graceful. That thing only weighs 3/4 of an ounce. It's very easy to jiggle. And if you jiggle it, then the tungsten bead is no longer set in the tail. You want that tungsten bead to fall down into the tail and stay there while you're casting, so that it flies tail first and heads with that weight in the tail. You also want to be nice and gentle so you don't jiggle it, so that way the line doesn't wrap around the tip of your rod. And you want that sucker to fly nice and straight through the air. If it flies nice and straight through the air, you can feather, just kind of palm the spool at the last second right before it hits the water. Maybe grab your line with your thumb to just stop it dead. And what that does is that tightens up your line so that the braid won't wrap around the front treble hook. That also ensures if you get a bite, as soon as it hits the water, your line is already tight. You're going to feel it. You'll probably get that hook set. Oh, that is a freaking woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Oh yeah, baby. I've got a good firm amount of pressure. This fish is surfing in on the surface. Maybe I can just pull him right up out of the water and land him just like that. Look at this, guys. That's a beautiful thing to see in the morning when you get up super early to meet your friend on the beach, get out there and catch some fish. That's a lovely, lovely, lovely bit of success right there. So happy. And while I'm handling this fish, Roger hooks up on his second one. We are catching them back to back together. Way to go, dude. Careful not to lose him. He looks like he's hooked pretty well. I don't think you're gonna lose him. Nice, dude. Check us out, bro.
All right.
We are doing good over here, guys.
Oh, yes.
So far, I'd say we're off to a good start.
I think so, too.
Well, I'm riding your coattails, but hey.
Roger says he's riding my coattails. I have rode a lot of good fishermen's coattails over the years. You guys have been my mentors and taught me how to catch them. And now I'm out here looking for those things that you taught me to look for. And I'm passing that knowledge over to Roger and to you guys back at home. I hope you guys are enjoying the show, learning something, getting excited to get out there and apply that knowledge and get on them just like this. Thanks for being here, guys. Please remember to hit subscribe, hit like on the video. Please leave a comment. That's gonna help the YouTube algorithm push my video up in front of more people. Oh, he came off. Woo! Get that bait way out there. That bite came pretty far out. Oh boy, just got smacked by a double there. Sometimes two waves will stack up on top of each other and then you get twice the wave energy. Oh, careful. I want to check my hook tips here in a sec. Make sure they still feel razor sharp, brand new. We work hard to earn every bite. It is imperative that you always use brand new razor sharp hooks because the next bite could be your personal best or maybe even a world record barred surf perch. And the difference between new razor sharp hooks and a dull old hook could be the difference between a catch or a missed hook set. Go add these Battlestar 2X and 3X replacement treble hooks to your cart right now. Or you can buy these at the Outdoorsman in Arroyo Grande. Oh! Oh! Hello! Woo-hoo-hoo! Oh my goodness. That is such a heavy fish. Oh my goodness, he's not even budging. I want to give a shout out to the Outdoorsman. Thank you guys very much for carrying these Battlestar 115 jerkbaits there in the store. And you too can head over to the Outdoorsman on Grand Avenue in Arroyo Grande. Pick up your own Battlestar 115 jerkbaits. Get out here on Oceano and put the smack down on them just like we're doing right here. Looks like we've got him wrapped up in a little bit of kelp. Let's back this fish up. Actually foul hooked in the back. Really big fish because, man, they don't feel any heavier than this. Look at that fish right there. Hooked in the back. I should not be putting all this pressure on my rod tip. Sorry, Okuma. You guys at Okuma are just shaking their head right now. All right, guys, this is so awesome. I'm so happy to be sharing these moments with you guys. That's why I put in all that extra work to make these videos. I'm gonna go ahead and get that fish in my perch pouch. You can get one of these perch pouches at hooktocook.shop. And they're just so convenient for holding your fish. Instead of a stringer snagging up on everything and poking you. So it's a really good idea to get one of these perch pouches. They keep the fish in really good shape. You can bleed them out in the pouch. It's constantly being recirculated with fresh seawater. I like to fish with the jerkbait when the wave energy is low like this, 200 and under, 150 and under, ideally. When it's really small, the waves are breaking in really close within casting range. And then you have no problem getting your jerkbait over those waves where the fish are concentrated in nice and close. Another good time to use a jerkbait is when you know there's a lot of bait in the water. So we've been seeing a lot of whales and birds and seals and evidence that there's a lot of bait in the water. As you know, switching back and forth between a jerkbait and a Carolina rig is a pain in the butt. It takes a lot of time. So what a lot of the more experienced guys do out here is they'll pre-rig something called a modified Carolina rig. And so instead of using an egg weight, they use something like a torpedo weight that has a fixed wire end on both sides. And that's all pre-rigged like a Carolina rig. And then what you can do is just take your quick clip that you use to clip on your jerkbait, and you just clip on this modified Carolina rig, and it only takes a few seconds. And I'll simply take my new Battlestar quick clip, that's a 44-pound size small, and what I'll do is I'll take my pre-rig, and I've added some swivels on both sides just to make sure that sucker is swiveling and spinning. A lot of guys don't do that. They'll just clip it straight to the weight. And then what I can do is just unravel this here, and I've got my Carolina rig ready to go. And this is the new Battlestar Soft Candy perch bait. There's no tail to be bitten off. It does have some little paddles on the sides, but we don't have to worry about anything getting bit off right off the tail end of the thing. So they're more likely to just inhale this entire thing because it's a very small bait, and it has the profile of a sand crab, and this is going to be coming out here within a few months. By the time you're seeing this video, you might be able to go buy this at casurffishing.com. Use code VinceGoesFishing for 10% off. All right, and we can do this pretty much the same way. Rod tip at a 45-degree angle, steady, medium speed retrieve, just enough to keep that leader straight so it's not spiraling up and getting all spun up and tangled and turned into a mess. Oh, is that a fish? That was something. Without the sliding weight, you're not going to have as much sensitivity like this as you would with an egg weight. The lighter the weight you use, the more sensitivity you're going to get on your Carolina rig, the more you're going to feel the fish. And if you use an egg weight, a sliding egg weight, as opposed to a fixed torpedo style weight, again, you're going to get more sensitivity when they grab that bait and run with it. You're going to feel it better. But we do this modified rig just for the convenience of flipping back and forth. All right, let's bomb that Carolina rig out there. Close the bail right before it hits the water. Try to keep that leader where it belongs. Flipped out to the other side on the outside. Nice and straight. Doing my medium speed retrieve here. Waiting to get smacked. Oh, there's a fish. Hello. Fish on. All right, that hook did its job. First solid bite, and I got a hook set. Wow, looks like he completely inhaled that bait. So this is a good thing about these smaller size baits, is that they do get fully inhaled and you get a really nice hook set. Take a look at the hook. That is the sample hook that we've developed for the Battlestar Soft Candy. It's unlike any perch hook you've ever seen before. It's a short shank, so it's only 20 millimeters long. That way it fits on this nice small little bait. It sits back towards the back about 4 millimeters off the tail there, and you've got a nice amount of hook gap. Look at how much hook gap you got there. So when they inhale this whole thing, boom, you get a nice good deep hook set. And I like to super glue the bait on, so I'm gonna go ahead and back this up and put a drop of super glue right here, and then put the bait back on the hook so it's glued on, so it doesn't get pulled down into the bend of the hook like that. I went ahead and super glued it on there. Keep reeling nice and steady because you want to keep that leader straight. You don't want that leader to flip forward when a wave comes through. And by the way, I am feeling a little tap here and there. Oh man, I hope you guys have fun with all this info. I hope it helps you get excited about going fishing, and I hope it helps you actually catch fish once you're out here. I hope you're grateful for all the hard work I put into making these videos. It is just an incredible amount of planning, creativity, visualization, and then all the hard work of changing the lenses on your GoPro and charging your batteries and changing the batteries and building a sand pod, so spiking the sand so we can get the good angles, and learning how to use video editing software and getting good audio, and then list just goes on and on. It's so much work to make videos if you want to learn how. But I wanted to move to the California coast and start my own YouTube channel and start making fishing videos, and I'm making some great videos for you guys. I just hope that you guys enjoy the heck out of them. There's one right there. That's a nice one. That one feels good. That is a good keeper perch. I'm gonna walk backwards, stay ahead of this fish, turn around, keep the rod bent. I've got a good hook set, apparently, because I had a good amount of pressure on him there for a while, and he's still on, so I'm gonna assume that he's hooked really well. Just keep a good firm amount of pressure. This is always like really boggled my mind, how much pressure should I put on the perch, because I always worried that if they're just barely hooked, then I'm gonna tear it loose. And I can't tell you how many times I've brought in perch that were just barely hooked, and I know if I had put any more pressure on them, they would have come undone. And these days, I'm really not stressing myself out that way anymore. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just like, set the hook, put some pressure on them. If they stay on initially, then I can assume that they're hooked pretty well, and then I can maintain a good amount of pressure. Let's take a look at how this hook is set. So you can see that he is hooked in the corner there. It was a secure hook set. I wouldn't want to tear too hard on that, but I put quite a bit of pressure on that, and it worked out no problem at all. They want the Battlestar soft candy perch bait. The hook is working like a charm. It's getting nice deep hook sets, as you can see. This is why you want to use a bigger hook. You can see for yourself right there is a perfect example of just how deep we got that hook set, which is just what you want when you're trying to land these perch, man. It's really important to get a good hook set, because I spent years out here fishing Pismo and Oceano learning about perch fishing, because when I came out here I was clueless, but I fished with the best. I put in a lot of time. I learned how the mechanisms of how all this stuff works, and so that's why I've designed a bait and a hook like this that you're looking at. So Roger says that he got absolutely drenched, had to take off his gear, and he's tired. He hit the road at 2 in the morning, so I think he wants to take a break.
I'm gonna kick back up here for a little bit,
okay,
and I'll wait for you. And
this is number 5 for me, so that's good. I can feed myself with 5 fish. So I'm happy to just take this home, put them in the fridge, eat on that for a while. So I've got my 5 fish that I want to keep. I'm just gonna stop fishing now, leave the fish alone. I'm sure I could catch a ton more if I wanted to, if I just kept fishing. I don't really like hooking fish and letting them go and hooking fish and letting them go. I'd rather just leave them alone, leave them unharassed, leave them for you guys to catch them. I've got my keep. I'm gonna call it a day and head home. All right, Roger, how did it go?
went really well. Not only did I catch fish, but I'm learning all the time about what to look for. And that is so important, and that's the thing I would want when I first hooked up with you, is the fact that I wanted to learn more about where to fish, how to fish, and now I'm learning more, and it's getting to me where I'm starting to know where to go and what to do.
You feeling more confident that you're going to be able to spot it on your own?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
What did you see today?
Today I seen where and this happened last time when I first talked to you, where the water was coming in, but where the cuts are and where the sandbars are and the troughs are, I look at the videos and I look and I look and I look. It's so difficult, and I know a lot of people have that same problem.
Yes.
So when you actually able to look at it and have somebody talk with you about it, it becomes much more apparent.
Great. Okay. Well, when you're out here and you basically see sections where waves are breaking and rolling in, you know that's a shallow area. And then when you see areas where there are no waves breaking, you know that's a deep area that comes all the way in. And that's what you want to find, is that deep area that comes all the way in, where the wave, there's just a shore break next to that area that has a bunch of waves rolling in over the shallow sandbar. So you have your deep water next to your shallow water, and then fish those sandbars, fish that whitewash where all those waves are breaking, and make a few casts into the cut as well, because sometimes they're in and out of the cut as well. But if you find where there's deep water next to shallow water, there's a good chance that there might be some fish schooling in there. So Roger, I'm glad that you're getting an eye for it, man, and I hope you just start landing on them and get dangerous. Yes, and you keep sending me your fishing reports.
Yeah, I really, coming from the valley, I came from 113 degrees. So when I come here, it's not just to catch fish, but it's to get away too. And I really enjoy it. The other thing that I noticed too is we looked at things for like 5 minutes, and we kind of checked the areas out. because sometimes you can get faked out by
Yes.
areas where you think that, oh man, look at there, there's nothing happening there.
Yeah.
But it may not be as long. And also we moved to one side, and we got the fish down where we moved.
Yeah,
So-
that's right. Okay, so you're making a couple good points right now. Is that as we drove down the beach, we thought we spotted something, and so we sat in the truck and we stared at it for about 5 minutes to watch the way the waves broke through the area. We gave ourselves a chance to watch a few sets of waves coming, and that helps to reveal the structure, what's really going on out there. At first glance, it can be very deceiving. Sometimes you need to stare at it for a little while before you actually identify the structure and how the way that it's shaped. And then you made another great point, is that once we started fishing, if we weren't getting bites, we crab walked to the left and we fished that whole shallow sandbar area. Looked for the fish, looked for the fish. Where are they along this sandbar? And we found them along the way.
And when we went down a little ways and Vince caught one, I let him get his in about 3/4 of the way, and then I casted right out where he was at and nailed him. You know,
Yes.
so that was another thing too, is when you, especially when you go fishing with somebody, you want to help each other out, and that's what Vince really did today, was help me out. But then, you know, I just kind of coattailed right onto his right there, and I got one in the same area.
Making a great point. These are schooling fish, and if you catch one, there's a good chance that there's going to be more right in that exact same spot.
Correct.
Yeah. All right, great, man. I had fun.
So did I.
I had fun, just like last time, and we caught more than fish today, just like last time. When you're open to connecting with the fishing community, you make some friends, you get out there, you catch more than fish, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to check Roger's other episode on my channel, Vince Goes Fishing. I'll leave the link in the description for you. You can enjoy that right now. One more last shout out to the outdoorsmen in Arroyo Grande. Get on down there and go get your Battlestar 115 jerkbaits, and then you drive straight down Grand Avenue, hit the beach, and start catching your nice big perch. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure, man. It's just as fun for me to share these experiences on video and help teach people as it is for me to get out here and learn how to do it. And that's happening simultaneously. I'm learning while I'm teaching. They say that teaching is the best way to learn.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's kind of the whole preface of my whole channel. Oh, hello!